6 minutes past 11 a.m. Pleasure to have your company today here at Triple R. And we've talked about a range of art forms and genres on the show today, but it's time for us to turn now to the visual arts and an ongoing series of exhibitions called Exploration, now up to Exploration 17 at the Flinders Lane Gallery, which, as its name would suggest, is in Flinders Lane, Melbourne, 137 Flinders Lane to be exact. And it's an opportunity for artists who are not commercially represented, who are perhaps emerging or unsigned artists, to present their work in a commercial context where it can be seen by collectors, buyers and more. Joining us to tell us all about the exhibition and to talk about some of the art involved, we have the gallery director, Claire Harris. Claire, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Very great pleasure. And two of the participating artists, Holly Pearce and Ryan Pola. Welcome to you both.
Good morning.
Hi.
So, Claire, as the name suggests, this is the 17th iteration of the series. Why did you begin it?
When I started at the gallery, I was working for the former director, Sonia Heitlinger, and she gave me a bit of leeway to do something, curate a show, and I thought, well, what I'd really like to do is have a show for unsigned artists and to do that. So I started that in 2000, and then I just continued on each year. It's a really enjoyable show to put together, and it's challenging, and it gives artists just this really nice opportunity to exhibit at the gallery in a commercial space and be shown, and it's a lot of fun. So yeah, I keep doing it.
And what kind of outcomes does it have for the artists concerned?
Oh, well, quite a lot of them do end up getting signed on to commercial galleries. We've actually signed on a number of artists over the years who've started in Exploration. So among those artists like Catherine Ryan, who was in the very first Exploration in 2000, William Bree and Gary Pumphrey, we've got quite a number of artists who started in Exploration, but we do see a lot of them have gone on to become really quite art stars in the scene, and that's always really exciting because we think, oh my goodness, they were in Exploration. That's so nice to see them doing so well. So
for, I guess, Holly and Ryan, talk to us then about the opportunity to participate in this exhibition series. What does it mean for you personally and professionally?
Oh, I think it's amazing that Flinders Lane provides this platform for us as emerging artists. It's a really steep learning curve. And to be taken seriously as an artist, I guess we all want that. But it's also to be put in just a more professional context. So it's really important. And Claire's chosen work that's not always completely safe, so I think that's fantastic. The show looks amazing, and there's a real diversity of the work. So it's a risky show, and I like being a part of that. So that's good for me in terms of a commercial gallery context.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Holly, and I think for myself personally, coming out of university last year, my Bachelor of Visual Art, this exhibition gave me a real chance to explore and grow from what I was doing, and I think the platform that it's on really encouraged me to push myself more, and I think we can see that with the other artists as well. Like, there's so much beautiful work in the show.
Now, there's 11 artists participating altogether with the exhibition. Would you have previously exhibited, say, in an ARI or somewhere like that, curating your own show? And if so, having an external eye and a professional eye to help you select work, present work, what kind of impact has that had on the way you're looking at your own works?
Well, for me, it was about scale and about what work. I do a range of work from 2D and 3D work, and then what work might fit in with the commercial gallery setting, or Claire, for instance, wanted my work to be larger, which I think is fantastic, and just having that outside eye to discuss the best way your work can be viewed was really important to me, and that's been really great.
For myself, I enjoyed the process of not having to run the gallery, in the sense where I got to focus more on creating, which was quite lovely, so I thank the gallery owners for that. That was nice. But definitely for myself, being part of it, just in a space like this, allow me to focus more on what I'm creating instead of the process of putting it together in the show sense.
Yeah. And also then means you don't have to invigilate the show as well,
yes.
Which I'm sure is an added bonus. So,
yes.
Yeah. Claire, what is it about Holly's work and Ryan's work that spoke to you and you thought, I want to include them in this exhibition?
Well, with Holly's work, her work is photographic. She manipulates and layers it, so it's like a collage effect. They're very kind of freaky and funky and strong colours, and there's the referencing to witchcraft and paganism, and then it's offset with this very contemporary contextualisation and large scale. They just are dynamic, and so I just thought, look, that's really bold and strong work, and it was beautifully put together. So when I saw them, I just thought they were lovely quality as well, and they really had this impact, immediate impact. And when Ryan came in with his, and he does very fine, beautiful drawing. He's amazing drawer. The quality of the work, and he's such a young fellow. And I was just like, oh my God, it's beautiful. What beautiful work. And then on top of that, he puts, with these absolutely gorgeous drawings of women, and not conventionally beautiful women either, like interesting faces. He has these elements like really creepy, quirky additions like spiders and octopus and insects and weird things, and then these little accents of colour. It's very beautifully done and really intriguing. So,
and there's an interesting connecting thread between both your works in terms of an exploration or referencing of, for example, pagan goddesses or and that kind of representation as well. So
it's funny way.
So the fact that there is a dialogue happening between the works as well. Were you at all familiar with one another's practices before you were placed into Exploration 17?
Not at all.
No, not at all.
It's nice chance happening.
Yeah, it really was a chance happening, because I was looking up, because Ryan's got a drawing, Hecate, and I reference Hecate in a lot of the shape-shifting visual elements in my work, and that's a passion of mine, this other sort of element of femininity, and so, I think that's a really beautiful link.
Let's just expand on that a little bit. As a representation of kind of a feminine tradition or a feminist tradition, rather than what people may think of as a traditional representation of the feminine. You're referencing this darker, more powerful, more confronting feminist tradition. Why explore that in your work?
Me? Well, I think these archetypes are really important. I think that the way that the general media has presented women, don't get me on my bandwagon, but has been two-dimensional. And I think that as women and as people, we're multidimensional. I also think that these archetypes that have been celebrated, the good girl or the good wife, aren't actually represented in ancient fairy tales. You have these wonderful magical witches, and these, I think the patriarchy, and this is sort of behind my work, has tried to reduce femininity and the power that women have, and femininity has, the power of creation, and they've tried to reduce that. And I think all these ancient goddesses, they were protecting the sacred feminine, and I think that, like Hecate, and so I try to sort of put that into my work at all times, and through ceremony and ritual as well, not just femininity but masculinity, so combining the power of those true essences of both.
And Ryan, you were nodding in agreement there.
Yeah, no, well said. I liked that. I don't know if I can phrase it better myself.
The fact that your works, as we've said, not only then representing a different version of strong female figures and archetypes, but bringing in elements of the natural world as well. So there's one image, for example, with a woman in a bathing suit cradling an octopus, and with kind of insects crawling about her and birds flying around her. Why bring the natural world into these images?
I like to use the natural world as symbols for what I'm trying to represent in the drawing. So definitely in that drawing, I was looking at the experiences of a friend and what she'd been through, and how she was trying to go through an instance of protecting herself. So a lot of the insects in there that are crawling over her are cleaners, and it's about like cleaning that yourself of that negativity you've been through. And the octopus, to my side, she's cradling it, but the octopus is quite an ingenious creature in finding ways into things and out of things. I think that was representing what she was doing in that instance.
Holly, I was intrigued by the fact that you spoke about patriarchal pressure reducing women to two-dimensional objects, which is interesting in that the work in this exhibition are 2D works. You haven't expanded them out into sculpture.
Tricky. Into sculpture. No, in my 3D work, I actually explore the shadow, so the sort of the concept of the psychological shadow. So it's more abstracted, and in here, yes, they're reduced to 2D forms, and it's sort of, in a way, in this particular work, in Exploration 17, they're I guess there's symbols of talismans and shapes that I want to provide pattern as a gateway, sort of, because everything's a gateway. They're sort of liminal spaces, and nothing needs to make sense in those spaces. So space is shortened or expanded. So 3D and 2D elements work together. So they're compressed and expanded. So they sort of, I don't know.
We're talking about the exhibition Exploration 17 on at Flinders Lane Gallery on now until the 17th of June, and the gallery's at 137 Flinders Lane. We've got 2 of the 11 artists represented in the exhibition with us in the studio, Ryan Pola and Holly Pearce, and gallery director Claire Harris. Claire, tell us about some of the other 9 artists represented. We probably don't have time to go through all of them and their practices in detail, but some other any particular pieces you'd like to speak to?
Well, they're in the main gallery space. So when you walk in, there's an area over to the left, and that's where Holly is, and there's another fabulous painter called Michael Sims, who's done some very dark, beautiful, realist works, also with a little twist to them. But in the main space, we've got some very strong abstractionists. So we've got Annie Simpson-Barry, who's done some large, three-dimensional, very colourful sculptural pieces, and they're in the centre of the space. And we've got Raymond Carter on the left-hand side walls, and he's actually worked with cloth tape on MDF, which creates very strong, abstract, very clean abstraction, and they're very dynamic. And on the back wall we have Jimmy Langer, and he's done this really interesting digital wallpaper, so it goes all across the wall and then down onto the floor as well. So that's there's quite a number of artists who are actually utilising new media as well. So you can see there's experimentation with all different technologies and things like that in the show. Jay Koshel, for example, his work is based around a Japanese Zen garden where he saw the rocks, and then he created inflatable rocks, and then he deflated those rocks, and then did a computer algorithm of the deflated rocks, and then basically has created these prints using an acrylic pen and a computer following that algorithm, and has done these very beautiful, fine, white-lined on black digital prints that are panelled, and they're absolutely beautiful, and they're of these deflated Zen garden rocks. So there's some really interesting mediums and works in the show.
So if you want to get along to Exploration 17, it's on now until the 17th of June at Flinders Lane Gallery, 137 Flinders Lane, Melbourne. Open Tuesdays to Friday, 11am to 6pm, Saturdays, 11am till 5pm. And you can check out the website, examples of work and more at www.flg.com.au. We've been talking to gallery director Claire Harris and artists Ryan Pola and Holly Pearce. Thanks to the three of you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us.
I wish